We're good. We don't even use needles anymore. Everything's digitized.
Ain't that the truth?
Boy, did I just date myself with that one. All right. Ready for the music when you are.
You got it. Here we go.
All right, everybody, coming back from the break. It's called the Business to Business Network Show. My name is Rex Perry, and if you just happen to tune in, we are talking business, politics, and economics. We have a variety of different guests. We do have a lot of real estate agents because we want to hear what's happening in the market, but we also pull in the politicians and the politics to talk about where the country is going, what decisions that are made that affect the economy, that then affect the business. We're trying to educate and bring in a variety of different people. Our next guest is Andy. Andy, give us your last name. Introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Rex. I'm Andy Moore. I am the Executive Director of the National Association of Nonpartisan Reformers.
Give us a little bit of background on that organization. When did you guys get started, and where's it based out of?
Sure. So our association, which we refer to as NANR, we started in 2017. It was a bunch of leaders of organizations across the country who are working on what we call electoral reform, and that is adjusting, changing the electoral systems to be more responsive and representative for our form of government. They got together and decided, they realized we were all working on similar issues and kind of moving towards the right direction, and perhaps it might make sense for us to work together.
Excellent. Now, we've talked to, in fact, in this particular show, there's going to be other, like the Forward Party. We've got open primaries. In fact, you've participated, you worked with open primaries a little bit, correct?
Founders and one of our board members.
Excellent. So here's what we're trying to do is bring all of these splinter groups and these nonpartisan, which you guys definitely, that's in your name, pull those independent voters into a huge political action committee, a PAC, with some sort of database of names, phone numbers, addresses, emails, and then organize a primary before the primary. So before the Democrat Republicans have their primary, these independents would get a chance to do some sort of ranked choice voting on both the Republican and the Democrat candidates. You choose your number one choice, your number two, number three, and then mathematically it all begins to sift from there. Your ideas on, because you guys are looking for that big umbrella, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I think you touch on something really important there, and that's that across the country, millions of voters that don't affiliate with Team Red or Team Blue are effectively blocked from participating in the electoral process in really important ways. I mean, we see that a vast majority of Congress is elected in the primary elections, right? They have non-competitive generals, so they're elected in primary elections by a very small percentage of total voters, right? It's somewhere in the neighborhood of only 5 to 8% of all voters nationwide are really the ones that are making decisions about who represents us in Congress. And that number has shrunk over time. We see this as a trend away from a representative government, away from a republic, the way that most of us think that it operates. And so a lot of our members are looking at things for how do we open primaries, how do we structure things differently so that every voter gets a voice.
Yes, and by having a big umbrella, a huge coalition, a big database of interested parties, and by having physical addresses, you can identify what precinct or district they live in. And you can actually begin organizing, having a precinct chairman or a district chairman, and you can have organizations. And by the way we live nowadays, we don't necessarily physically get together like we used to. We just do Zoom, right? Everybody does a Zoom call to pull interested parties together. And the idea here is to get it done and get it motivated before the primary. So it's a primary before the primary as we begin to pull people together. The independents who never get a chance to have their voice count or heard. And by the way, that's the incentive to join. I mean, how many people are out there that have heard people, talk about surveys or statistics, and they think to themselves, I never got a call. Nobody ever asked my opinion on this. And this would be an opportunity for them to express their opinion and actually have a documentation of, who the voters are. They are independents, and that independents vote in the general election, and we're the guys that swing the election, right?
Right. In many cases, that's exactly right. And I think you make another good point that a lot of polls, right? You might poll 400 or 500 or 600 people in a state, and there's some math they can do to say, well, we took to these people and we're going to extrapolate that and believe that it represents the whole state. But I think, as we've seen the last few election cycles, polling is really not doing well. There's a lot of concerns because the people who are at home and answer the phone or respond to the text message might not be representative of the whole public. And there are new tools coming out, kind of what you're describing, that would allow organizations or campaigns to better predict what voters' sentiments actually are.
And here's the point. You could do issues. You could get the nonpartisan, non-blue, non-red voters to weigh in on gun control, on abortion, all these hot button issues that are so hard to get anything done. And you could give a direction for those individuals from both parties as to which direction the independents are leaning, and give them some cover if they decide to step away and say, you know what, I represent all the state of Arizona. I represent everybody in District 1. I see that the voters and my people that I represent want a decision going this way, and I know that I'm not going to get primaried, and even if I get primaried, I might end up winning in the general election because the independents are willing to support somebody that's willing to stand up for principle. That's the vision. That's the hope. That's the umbrella. How can people get a hold of you and your organization, Andy?
Yeah, so the best way is to go online. Our website is nonpartisanreformers.org, nonpartisanreformers.org, all one word. And on there you can find us and find a lot of our member organizations, including there in Arizona, they can get involved with.
Andy, we appreciate you being a guest on the show. We appreciate the work you're doing. We're going to try to pull all of these splinter groups together and do a whole show, maybe do a Zoom call, and see if we can't get a big umbrella pulling everybody together. Andy, thank you so much. We got to do a commercial break. We're going to be right back. Andy, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, thank you so very much. We're going to get you a copy